What's up everybody and welcome into the shop. My name's Cody and today I'm going to be building a nightstand, and I'm also going to be telling you the story about how this shop came to be. First we're going to start with some leg stock, so I'm just getting things measured out to get it cut to length on the miter saw. And then I'll edge joint everything and get it ready to rip down before gluing up. This is my dream shop. It's a place just for me to build, and something that I'd never anticipated having at this point in my life. A lot of these tools I came to own very unexpectedly, you might say. I grew up woodworking with my dad and my grandfather. I spent a ton of my extra time in driveways or in garages or in basements, just playing around, building things, paying no attention to what should or shouldn't be done. Woodworking was always a passion. It was always Legos for adults for me. And I was blessed with a dad and a grandfather who would always pour into that. I'm sure I cost them a lot of money in wood and a lot of time, but they were happy to spend that time with me, and I'm very grateful for those moments and those memories. While the leg stock is drying, we're going to get started on the aprons. And initially I decided these are only going to be about 4 inches wide, but then I started looking at it and realized to hold a singular drawer like I wanted them to, they needed to be more like 6 to 8 inches, so I ended up gluing on material after. Neither my grandfather nor my dad, though, would let me use any big tools until I hit high school. And then I took high school woodshop, where I started to learn more technical skills. I started to learn joinery. I started to learn the things that would actually enable me to build furniture. And that's where I started to develop a love for furniture, not just building things. I chose to attach the aprons with pocket holes, and it's only at the top 4 inches. That way you don't have any issues with wood movement and the screws breaking or anything like that. But the reason I chose pocket holes is because I was under a time crunch, my mom was coming to visit, and these needed to be done. So I went with the simplest option, and also an option I knew that would work. I have a desk that I built the same way about 15 years ago, and it's still holding up perfectly. With the skills that I learned in my high school woodshop class, I used that to build things like nightstands, entertainment centers, footstools, jewelry boxes, simple things, but things that were bigger and more complex than the toy planes or helicopters that I had built growing up. It became fun for me to just design in a little booklet and graph paper to draw out ideas that I had for different pieces of furniture. One piece is a bookshelf that my grandfather ended up copying and building one for himself because he liked the design I had so much. My dad helped me build a desk that I still use today, and I used it all through college. And it's simple, it's plain, but it does the job, and I love it. Here you can see how those aprons only have pocket hole screws in the top portion of them, and otherwise mostly they're held together with glue and clamps, and I have no fear that they are going to break or expand or anything like that. I do live in Arizona. It's relatively dry. We don't have big humidity swings, so wood movement is going to be minimal at best. You'll notice that nowadays I get to have my own little shop helper, and he loves to build. We ended up building him a nightstand when I finished this project because he thought he needed one. It's time to start cutting out drawer parts, and these are going to be the drawer sides. I like a pre-finished half-inch ply for drawer sides, and I have a different kind of way of making my drawer boxes that I was taught in high school, and I haven't seen anyone else do on YouTube. It starts by cutting 2 sliding dovetails in the drawer face, and then using those grooves to cut a slot for the drawer bottom. Then the drawer sides are going to get a dovetail cut into the 2 of them, and then the back will just have a simple dado. So I said I came to own these tools unexpectedly. back at the end of 2021, my dad passed suddenly, and he had spent a decent amount of time collecting tools and building a shop out for himself to enjoy, and now I had the opportunity to inherit that. I augmented my own tools with the tools he had. I sold off what was redundant, and suddenly I had a much nicer set of tools than I ever expected. Fast forward a couple of years, and my grandfather, who's in his 90s, has to move into a home, and he has no use for his tools anymore. And my mom said, "Hey, do you want any of these?" What sucked is that at the time I didn't have the ability to use these tools. We were renting, and the electrical in the garage was literally 2 outlets, and one of them was for the garage door, and I had to wait. We had to put them in storage. I had to plot and plan and get ready for someday to come. It became increasingly apparent that we weren't going to be able to fit in our 2-bedroom condo. My son, the woodworking tools, all the other things that we had to keep track of. We knew the day was coming, but it was hastened. And so we started looking for a home for the growing family. We found a little half-acre plot in Arizona, and we said, this is it. We bought the house, and there was a little corner in the back of the property that was just right for a shop. It took about a year from moving in to finding a contractor and finally building the shop, start to finish, but we're here. I now have a space for the tools. I have the opportunity to work and continue this passion project that my father and grandfather handed down to me. When I was buying material for this project, I saw this board and I said, that is going to be the top. The figure, the grain, the variation of sapwood to heartwood is just beautiful to me. Do I think I'm the best woodworker out there? No. But I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and I have an opportunity to grow and develop and become better, and that is the dream. And my hope is that in the same way my dad's shop and my grandfather's shop was used to impact me, I'll be able to impact my kids. I'll be able to impact kids at church or develop relationships and invite people into this and share not just woodworking but life with people along the way as we work on projects, as we build cool things. So I have no idea where this channel is going, whether it's going to be collaborative builds with people around me or if it's going to be me building cool stuff and telling you stories. But I know it's not just going to be about one guy in a shop. I know it's going to be about the relationships that we build along the way. It's going to be the memories made in the process of building cool things, because life is to be shared. Life is something that we're not supposed to live in a vacuum. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, to hear a little bit about my heart and my passion for woodworking, and maybe to take a little woodworking away from it as well. Going forward, I have a lot of plans of things I want to do for our house. We moved from an 800 square foot condo to a 3,700 square foot home. So we have a lot of furniture to build, and this shop's not done, so I know I will also have a lot of shop builds coming up. So if you're interested, I'd love to have you come back and visit in the future. If you think I've earned it, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button and maybe even leaving a comment down in the video. Maybe there was something you noticed that I could do better. I appreciate the feedback, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to spend next week sharpening knives and blades and things, because this hickory was absolute murder on them.